Hi, welcome. I don't really do this normally, but I tried to find a video to help me take this thing apart and replace a split pressure housing here, and I couldn't find one, so I thought I would take a few short videos and see if I can help someone else out in the future. So what you're looking at now is a Gardena water pump with the automatic pressure shut-off function. So it's the model number 4005E, article number 1758. So as you can see here, it's been in the works and functioning beautifully for the last couple of years, but last year in winter there was a cold snap and we didn't shut off the pump, and as you can see here, get that to focus, there's a small split. So I need to replace this part that all comes through here into the pressure housing into this point here. So I've got the part here already that arrived today, so I'm going to try and build this in. I want to take some screws out, took the handle off already here, and I'll give you guys some updates as I go on. So I've started taking this apart and I've identified the 4 screws at the top to get this cover off here. This one here, and this one here. But there's some at the bottom as well, and 1, 2, 3 that I can see. So we'll get those undone and see if I can get this housing off here completely. So as I mentioned before, I got all those screws out and the housing came off actually really super easy. Just can't forget the ones at the top here, on top of the control module there. Be careful when you take the other half off. This part is still attached with the power cable, so just be aware of that. And we'll see if we can get this dismantled and access to this part here that we're going to replace. So it looks like for the control module to get into here, we need to take off some sort of press clips here. So I'm going to do that. They're probably on all 4 sides. Yeah. And see if we can figure out what's behind there. So just as I expected, those pull tabs on the sides were nice and easy. There's one screw at the bottom to unscrew, and when you pull it off, it comes across pretty easy. There's obviously things attached to that. So we need to be careful when we remove this and pull this apart, so that we don't pull anything off or break anything, because we somehow need to get into there to replace that part. So see what I can figure out and I'll let you guys know. So I'm not entirely sure, but I looked at this and I was about to start unscrewing these 5 screws here, or 4 screws, and then I realized maybe we don't need to. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, we should be able to get this whole piece off the pressure housing. And when I look at this replacement part, we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. So it should all mount to that through those screws. So let's see what happens. So I've just rested this part here on the side, and we've got this part free. So what I'm going to do now, before we start taking off this rear piece here, I'm going to take this actually off the system on this side. Now that is a pin of some kind where it hooks in, and if I look at the new piece, it looks like that is the only thing holding it in. So hopefully that'll work out and be quite easy. So far so good. So here we are with this piece, and although we undid this screw, this is really tight and sort of locked into place. I wasn't exactly sure how to get this out. So what I did, I haven't got it out yet, but what got me moving is I put my screwdriver like this, and then with my other hand, which I can't really do now, actually spun it inside the housing, and that freed up a bit of the grit, and hopefully I'll be able to get it out. I'll let you know. So this here, I was right in the sense that if you use this to spin it, it gets it moving. And what I didn't realize is actually a thread that is spun in. And once we get that out, we've basically got half the job done. Obviously being super careful not to bend this or put any pressure on this pin here. Cool, let's start reassembling. Game on. So a quick update. I've got this reassembled in the new piece. We've actually attached this to here. Now this here was actually, when I took it out, it was super easy. But when I put it back in, I actually need to almost hug the entire pump and push this towards here before this would slide in. So if it doesn't go straight in easily, then this needs to be applied a bit of pressure or upward or downward motion so that all the lines line up. So let's keep cracking on. So I'm just about to place this control module back onto the pressure housing, and you'll see here there's a little pin that needs to be inserted into that hole there, so then all the screws line up. So I'm probably have to apply a little bit of pressure to get that O-ring to sort of sit. Unfortunately, I don't have any silicone lubricant or anything, so I'm just gonna have to go with it as it is. So hot tip, when I put these screws in, I needed to put them all in a little bit and then tighten them in a consecutive order, because otherwise you just get it pulled in one certain direction and this will separate again. So it's super important to be gentle with that and be nice and consequent, because if we put too much pressure on one side and the other side isn't in, it could bend or break that control module. So let's be careful there. So I think we're coming to the close here. Putting this cover back on was pretty simple, and making sure everything was tucked in here nicely at the bottom where the cables come out. Then obviously tighten this screw here. Don't forget, otherwise it won't be as waterproof as it really wants to be. I'm going to put the housing back on now, being careful that this actually fits back into these slots here inside the housing. So let's see how that goes. So I think we're basically done. I did realize just then that compared to if you compare the new piece to the old piece, you can see where mine's split just there. They've actually put a reinforcement in on the replacement piece. So that was obviously a defect in the system that they wanted to improve as they move forward with the design. But everything's together. The great thing is I've only got 2 more screws left, and that is going to be perfect for this cover here, which I'm not going to put on just yet, because I want to make sure that when I put some water through this thing, it doesn't actually leak.